This is Susan and Katrina, Katrina being the horse. My name is Zoe Brooks. I'm with Nurtural Horse, and my husband and I are the ones that invented this Nurtural Bitless Bridle, which is a bridle you can ride your horse and do absolutely anything without using a bit in the horse's mouth. As Susan is warming up Katrina, just watch the horse, see how she's reacting. She's obviously a little bit uncomfortable at being in this arena. And I had taken a Canadian mare, quite similar to Katrina, and I had trained her for the very first time for myself and for her using natural horsemanship. Tradition dictates that the next thing we do is put her in a bit and bridle. So we did, but her whole personality changed. And suddenly my loving horse that would do anything for me wanted to do nothing but get rid of me. I'll continue that story of the invention of the bitless bridle after I give Susan a chance to tell her story as soon as she's comfortable. So,
thank you. I started Katrina last year ago spring in 2008. I purchased her in the fall of 2007. Didn't do much with her the first winter. She was very green, had trouble just moving forward. She had been driven a lot and held back. As a dressage rider, the first thing we look for is for forward movement, and the Canadian being very, very strong through the front end for pulling, she didn't really know how to push with her back end very well. She just was very tense, holding her breath. So I thought, well, I'll try the bitless and see that she would go into the bit more, onto the bit more, into the bridle. As dressage riders, there's 10 elements for dressage. The first 2 are relaxation and rhythm. And in order to get relaxation, they need to be able to accept the bit. And as you can see, she's tense. Now this bit is a Weymouth. I find it good for parades in high tense situations. Now I took the bitless home and schooled her. It took probably half the time to school her to go down and forward and into the bridle without the bit than it would have with a bit, because they don't want to meet that aggravating irritation in their mouth called a bit piece of steel, right? So now, because of, again, tenser situations, I have put this Weymouth in her. But I know that she will too settle right down once she gets the bitless on, so we want to just...
this side of the noseband has a rubber gripping material in it, so it's texturized, and that will let it stay in place, and the horse won't push its way into the texturized noseband. The only way that horse would stop was if it hit the wall. Other than that, it would keep going. That was in a bosal. We put it into our bridle, and it would at least stop in the Nurtural bridle. We had the best trained Western horse that we had ever seen. Now, isn't that interesting? I don't know how many of you are horse people, but you can notice how very different that horse is going. How much more relaxed she is. Now, she's in the same spooky arena she was in a moment ago, but she's certainly much more comfortable. I'm going to let you just show off what Katrina can do. And for any of you who are interested and are working on dressage, one of the biggest challenges that we run into is the fact that the rules require that you use a bit. But little by little, bit by no bit at all, we are making a difference. There are places where you can compete without using a bit. You can always compete bitless. There's a place online called Dressage. You would think that was a completely different horse. And all we've done is change the equipment that she's using. So people, for centuries, since the days the earth was flat, We have thought that the only way you could control a horse was to put a bit in its mouth. And look how much better Katrina behaves when you take the bit out and go to a Nurtural Bitless Bridle. I think that's quite impressive. So I was saying, if you're doing dressage, you can compete online. You can upload a video to a place called Dressage and be judged by international dressage judges and compete against people from all over the world. There is a series in Ontario that's equivalent to the Trillium series. It's just a growing series in the Southern Ontario area called the Equicup series, and they are allowing Nurtural Bitless Bridle in every single class. So it's not restricted just to the show jumping. You can use it in the hunter ring, you can use it in dressage. People are doing absolutely everything. There are cowboys here in Alberta out rounding up the cattle and moving them around, and they're doing it in bitless bridles. Look how nicely she's putting her head down. That is an amazing difference in a horse just by switching from a bitted bridle to a Nurtural Bitless Bridle. Often asked, will your horse actually stop in this? And a lot of people write to us and say, it felt as if I had installed power brakes, that the horse stops better. So I think we've only got a couple of moments left. We've got 2 or 3. Just have some fun for a moment. I'm so enjoying watching this horse go. We also raise Canadian horses, so I'm very, very fond of this breed. This is Canada's national horse. Susan, if I could get you to come to the center a little for a moment and just explain in more equestrian terms what I've been babbling on about here.
Thanks, Zoe. Just an amazing difference. You put this on, and as you noticed when I went across that end with the bit in her mouth, she was very, very tense. I was, the pressure there, and as soon as we put this on, she bravely went down to that end. She was still a little hesitant, but much better. The licking of the lips tells you that the horse is relaxing. The snorting, that all comes through with this bridle. And so much quicker than having that piece of metal in their mouth.